don't think there's anybody more appropriate who should be starting this than Mr. Dan. You guys know Dan Holloway. If you don't, you're getting ready to. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Mr. Dan Holloway. Dan, get on up here, bud. You mic'd up? You good?
I think I am. There we are.
No, you're not. I can't hear you.
You can hear me a little bit.
How's
that?
I can't hear you.
Yeah, you can. Last time I stood on stage with this guy, he called me, what was it, an ungrateful turd?
Yeah, that was last time. You've come a long ways.
Oh, thanks, JJ. I appreciate that, bud. Right. Hi. How we doing? So I want to get a little bit of context before we start, just so we're kind of on the same wavelength here. Who hasn't made a sale online ever before? Alright, cool. And who deep down doesn't really honestly believe that maybe they can do it? Who's got that doubt, that fear? Okay, good. So what I want to talk about is, I mean, we've listened to a lot of great people, right? We've listened to the Lifestyle team, we've listened to Stu, we've listened to Justin. Maybe he doesn't fit so much into great people, but he's kind of up there. But I want to give like a bit of perspective and a bit of a bridge for when you're starting out and you haven't made your first sale online up until the point of getting any kind of success, right, or results in your business, because it's often a bit of a gap, right? It's quite tricky to sometimes see or relate to those big results, you know, like the six-figure months and all that kind of stuff. And when you can reach a point where you can like truly believe and know that you can do it, it's like JJ said earlier today, the difference between knowing that you can do it and hoping that you can do it is realistically what's going to determine whether you will succeed or not. Because as long as you're hoping and you're not knowing, there's still that element of doubt in your mind, and that can really, really hold you back. Right? So my aim today is to just give a bit of perspective on the journey from when you start out to achieving those results. So does anyone, by the way, not know anything about me or who I am or know my story at all? Yeah, Jacqueline absolutely doesn't know me one bit. Thanks, James. Okay, so most people probably heard then 10th of September 2016 is when I joined SFM, submitted my application. I went black October the 6th, 2016, and quit so I had a corporate career in software sales. I was working like 70 hours a week, earning good money, but feeling pretty unfulfilled. And then I saw this ad online by Lifestyle Team over there. We never figured out whether it was actually Gerald or Chris, did we? Because we had this discussion when I first met you guys. Chris was like adamant it was him, and Gerald was like, no, definitely my ad. But I saw the ad from those guys, and like very quickly realised that this is what I wanted to do. This is the path that I was going to go down. But I still, although I realised that I quickly realised I was all in. If I was going to do this, I was going to do it properly. I was going to make sure that, you know, I had to believe in myself to do it, but I still had doubts. And one of my biggest breakthrough moments that I had in the early stages was I had literally just made my first app sale, maybe like a couple of weeks before, and this was January 2017. And I kind of reached a point where I was feeling. I came back from Christmas and started looking at my business and looking at the amount of money that I had left until I ran out of capital, because I quit my job, right? Because I was like, I'm going to do this, threw it all in, had a pot of cash, and that was for living expenses, a marketing budget. So I had a timeline of how long I had left before I'd run out. And so in January, I'm looking at my, the amount of cash and time that I've got left, and I realised I had 2.5 months left, and that freaked me out. So I reached a point where I was getting this anxiety. I was like, lying in bed at night, my heart's like beating. I'm like, Jesus Christ, calm down. I can't even sleep. I can't do anything. It's a nightmare. And I'm just like getting plagued by this doubt and this fear, and I'm, losing sight of the fact that I was telling myself I believed in myself, but realistically, I didn't truly believe in myself. I didn't believe that I could necessarily do it. I couldn't relate to the results that those guys were getting. And one of the biggest breakthroughs I had was it was on an elite mastermind with Justin, and he was saying that what I was basically trying to do was to find or to create certainty in uncertainty. And one of my favourite quotes recently that's become like a lot more, I think, meaningful for me is a Steve Jobs quote. And he says that when you're, got to remember the exact wording of it. I want to make sure I get this right. But he says you can't follow the is it the breadcrumbs? It's like you can't follow the breadcrumbs when you're looking forwards. You can only see the breadcrumbs when you look back. Right? You can't. You only know or can see the path once you've taken those steps. Right? And we'll often look into the future, and it's all uncertain because we don't know what's going to happen, and we try and create this certainty, but we get all this fear around it because we don't know what path we're going to go down. Now, when we look in our past, we don't get the same fear because it's happened. Right? It's certain. We know that it's happened. We know that that's the path that we've gone down, and therefore, we don't feel that fear. But in the future, we sometimes find it tricky to have that faith and belief that we're going to be able to figure it out and walk that path. Because the thing we forget is that everything is always going to be all right. Like, everything will always work out. And the fact that we're all here today is proof of that. No matter what bad things have happened in our lives, it's always worked out okay. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here today. Like, none of us are in mortal danger, I hope, right now, in this moment. And therefore, we just have to find a way to have faith that everything in the future is going to be all right in the same way that everything in the past has always been all right. And once you can connect with this and you truly get it on a subconscious level, that's when your results in this context, in business, can really start to explode. So when I look at the contrast of my last 14 months, I've gone from corporate career, unfulfilled, not happy, starting an online business, making first sale online. 14 months later, last month was $55,000 a month. This month is 25 grand so far, expecting it to be 49 grand within the next week. I've been traveling all over the world. I've done America, I've done all over Europe the last few weeks, I'm in Australia for a little while, and I sometimes have to pinch myself at the contrast and the difference that literally 14 months can make, and that is no time at all. That's nothing, because 14 months from now or 12 months from now, it's going to happen anyway. So we kind of have a choice of what do we want to be doing in 12 to 14 months. Do we want to still be where we are if we're not happy or we're not fulfilled or whatever? Do we still want to be where we are? Or do we want to decide to believe that we can get the result that we want and then take the actions, take the steps that are going to get us there? And when you embody this, it's amazing how quick you can get different results in your life just by taking different actions, right? So one of the things that I want to do, again, in the the essence of keeping or giving perspective of the journey and all the steps that it takes to get there, is get a couple of people up here who are in the earlier stages, but who I am utterly confident in 12 months from now will also change their lives in every way, just because of the actions that they're taking, because of the belief that they have in themselves, and because of what they're doing every single day, showing up in their businesses. So, first person I want to bring up, I think everybody in this community is probably going to know her pretty well, especially with her lives on the tribe and everything she's been doing recently. Cordelia, would you come up here, please? Thank you very much. Even bigger round of applause, come on, she deserves it.
Hello.
Wow. Right, would you tell everyone a little bit of background about yourself and who you are?
Well, actually, I'm a little bit of a rebel, so before I do what I'm told,
she's going to do something else.
I want to do something else, which is the fact that this guy needs some recognition. And Justin, if you're in the room, I don't think he is.
No, he's not.
Just tell him, for me, that he is not paying me to say this, yet. But anyway.
Thanks, cheers, Cordy.
I think, though, on behalf of all Dan's members, for a change, he needs a bit of recognition, because he is literally my guardian angel. He is what drives me, in the sense that he builds me up, makes me feel comfortable, makes me feel confident, and I've got so much respect for him. Okay, what was the question?
Thank you. So give everyone a little bit of perspective of your current life situation and how your first 3 months in SFM have gone.
Yeah, so, before I did Platinum, the first thing that would have come out of my mouth was, hi, I'm Cordelia and I'm a mum and a nurse. But actually that doesn't define me. Mm-hmm. I have 3 children and I work as a nurse. and I've been a nurse for a year, and I wanted to have my own online business. I've never stood on stage before, and I think I've started to shake.
You'll do that.
But I wanted my own online business because I wanted to be able to give my kids a better life. You know, between us, I want to put them through private school. I want to travel the world with them, and I can't do that on a nurse's wage. So I joined the SFM by chance, really. I didn't know that marketing was ever going to be a thing that I would be good at. I still don't know if I'm good at it. I hope that I am. But I started in July, I think, and I can't remember when I went black, if it was September.
You started July 14th, you went black August 6th.
Okay, August 6th. There we go. But that was, for me, like, I was all in, 100%. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what black meant. I didn't really know what any of this involved, but it was the first time ever in my life that it just felt like the next logical step. Like, I knew that if I didn't do it, if I didn't take that step, I would have regretted it for the rest of my life, and I'm not up for having any regrets. So, yeah, so I just spent every spare second. I don't cook anymore. I don't clean anymore. I'm very focused on my time. I have my kids all day. I work 13-hour shifts, and it means that the little time that I do have, I need to spend it wisely. So if I've got the kids in bed by 7 o'clock, I can't be cooking the husband a gourmet dinner until 9 and then get some work done. You know, I have to put this business first, because my vision is that my life will completely be changed in 12 months' time. Thanks to Stuart and Jay for creating this for us. It's possible for that to even happen. And I'm totally committed to making that change. That's it, really, just having that end goal in mind and being very focused on the steps to get there.
Yeah. And I think seeing your journey, that's one of the biggest things that I've seen, and I think a lot of people that know Corky have seen as well, is that you were just unbelievably focused on doing exactly what you needed to do to get the result. Right? So there's a couple of reasons that I wanted to ask you that and sort of bring you up here, and we'll talk about this a bit more. But number one, has anyone, and like, be honest, when the lifestyle team talk, when I talk, when some people talk, who maybe has a little voice in their head that might say something like, oh, it's easy for them, they quit their jobs so they've got time, or they don't have kids, they don't have a family, they don't have this, they don't have that, right? It happens and it's natural. But what I wanted to really point out is that all these stories, like all the things that we tell ourselves about why we can or can't do things, they are only stories. And you've got a choice about how you let that story define you. Because for Corky, let's take the kids as an example, right? And I'm going to deliberately use that because there might be a few people that this might piss you off hearing this, because I don't have kids, and it might be that the little voice says, what the hell does he know? He doesn't have kids, he doesn't understand. Fair, right? But if for somebody who says, and this has been said to me, somebody who said, well, it's all right for you, you don't have kids, if that is your reason for not doing this, for me, I'm like, hold on, shouldn't that be your reason for doing this? Like, if you're working to build a business and create freedom so you can spend time with your kids, how can you then say, oh, it's easy for you, you don't have kids, so you don't, have all of this to deal with? And for you, I know your kids has been the number one driver for you to do this. And the point is, it's the perspective. Is how do you choose that story, or what do you choose that story to represent? Is it the reason you can't, or is it the reason you have to? And if you change your wording around those stories, which are often the only thing that's holding us back, the result that you get can be incredible. So, for yourself, result, right? When I started September, first sale was in December. Quit my job, working full-time, 14 hours on SFM. You, working as a nurse, 13-hour shifts, and you got your first sale, when was it?
Well, I actually started marketing on the 25th of September, and I know it was the 25th of September because I started the marketing challenge from Arizona on the 15th, and 10 days later I managed to get the website set up and everything ready. So within those 15 days, the 15 days left of the challenge, 20 days left of the challenge, I can't remember, I can't count anymore. I'd reached my goal of 2 leads and 100 apps. 100 apps and 2 leads. No.
100 leads, 2 apps.
Damn it.
Superstar. She's great with numbers, by the way.
Really good. He knows my numbers better than me. It's true. But yeah, so now, I've got about 250 leads and 6 apps. But I do have a confession to make, and 1 member. But I've got like at least a 50% clawback rate at the moment. But the point is, I'm still trying to communicate with them, even if I'm doing really craply. You know, I'm still trying, and I'll get better. It's all about practice, isn't it?
Honestly, my first like 3, 4, 5 months clawbacks initially were high because you're finding your message. You know, you're finding what works, what doesn't work, who you are, and once you start attracting the people that are like you and believe what you believe, then the clawbacks start to, you know, really, really go down. No, that's awesome. That's really cool. And the focus thing as well, like that is just a testament to what you can do if you decide to put your effort and put your energy into what's important and take action. And like if anyone's heard me talk before, you know the whole 10 times bolder thing, like most people probably know about it. It's what would you do if you were 10 times bolder? And the reason that you asked that question, what did you say?
Get a wig.
Get a wig. Exactly. Where's Alex when you need him? So, there you are, bud. Sorry.
Or a hat.
Yeah, or a hat, that works. But no, you ask yourself, what would I do if I was 10 times bolder in any situation? And whatever the answer is, that's what you have to do, because chances are that's the thing that's holding you back from getting the result that you want. So like if you want to advertise on YouTube but you're scared of shooting videos, you know, what would I do if I was 10 times bolder? Well, I'd probably just pull a camera right out of my pocket and hit record and start talking. That's what you got to do. You know, it's as simple as that. And we'll procrastinate and hold ourselves back for so long with these fears and these bullshit stories, and we'll justify it. We'll be like, oh no, so I can't do it today because I don't feel great, I'm tired, I'm this, I'm that. But you have literally just been like, you know what, right, I want to get there, so I need to do this, boom, action. And that's
just
it.
to add to that, you know, like with the kids, like I involve my children. My daughter sees me working because I'm not actually out at work, so I'm at home working on the laptop. And so she's like, oh, not on the laptop again. And I involve her. I'm like, you know, show her what I'm doing, and I'm like, I tell her what we're going to do next year. And because I've made those promises to her, I'm sitting on fire. Not because I've got money to pay, but because I've got little girls' expectations to me. And that drives me as well. Like just involving her. And she understands. Like she gets it. She gets that's why I'm so busy.
Yeah. And that's awesome, like involving them as well. And again, it's like accountability. You know, once you say that to your kids, I'm guessing like you're going to make it happen because you don't want to let them down.
Yeah, or run away.
Yeah, one of the two. No, thank you. That's really cool. All right, and then another person as well that I want to bring up to continue giving a little bit of perspective is somebody who has very recently started. Absolute legend already in terms of mindset. Like you, Tom, if you'd like to come up, by the way, I'm going to keep introducing you while you come up. Absolute legend in terms of mindset. And from what you've told me, I feel that your journey had kind of already begun before SFM, and like it was just right time, right moment, and some of the stuff that I know that you're going to do now is really inspirational. So give a little bit of background of, you know, for everyone of who you are, what you do, and how you discovered SFM, that kind of thing.
So firstly, I just want to say thank you to all of you, just for being you and being the truly inspiring people that every one of you are. That's something that's really resonated with me because I've been doing the Platinum Workshop as well. And to be honest, if it wasn't for all of you, I probably wouldn't be up here right now because public speaking is one of my biggest fears. So thank you. I really mean that.
You're welcome, bro. And you know what? The fact that you when I literally dropped this on him, 2 nights ago? I think I was like, hey, by the way, pal, do you want to come talk on stage? And he's like, yeah, sure. But he said yes. And that's the thing, like I threw something in his face and he was just like, yes. And that's the key, when you lean into fear and you go, do it anyway, like this guy's growth, because he's done this, like, my God, I can't wait and see what the next 3-4 months are like.
I'm so excited. Thank you, Dan, for the opportunity. I appreciate that.
Of course.
So, I'm Tom, and I work in sales at the moment, corporate sales, similar to Dan, and I think that's why Dan actually really resonated with me, because when I saw his video, it was very much about fulfillment. It wasn't all about the money, because I've also sort of worked my way up in a career, I've earned more money, and it sort of got to the stage where I was realising there was no real fulfillment from it. I'm sure a lot of you can sort of resonate with that as well. So I watched the video series. I was very sceptical at first, I must admit. I thought it was a scam. But after sort of really seeing what these guys were about, and it was some of the things that Stuart was saying as well, that it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not about money, because we see so many of those on YouTube all the time, and that's not what this is. And it was that moment I knew this is what I wanted to do, and just seeing the kind of impact it could have on people. One of the other big turning points for me as well was one of the community meetups that Alex Mail kindly hosted in London. And just seeing the kind of impact that it had on people's lives was just incredible for me. That was when I knew again that this was for real. You know, this was the real thing, and you really can have such an impact on people's lives. So to give you a bit about my journey so far, started about a month and a half ago. Just got stuck in, completely stuck in. I've been sort of working till about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, non-stop, just really trying to get stuck in and taking as much as I can, push myself out of my comfort zone. I positioned at black, I think about sort of week and a half, 2 weeks in. Again, I wanted to put myself in the position where it was sort of, I was all in. You know, there was no going back at that point. It's make or break, and I think that was the biggest thing for me about going black. Like, I've had a lot of messages from people in the community asking me, "What do you get? You know, what are you getting for black? How is it?" And I'll be honest with you, I don't actually know. I don't know everything that's included in the black package, but for me, it was just the mentality and the mindset. That's the biggest reward I've got from it, because I know that I'm going to make this work regardless. I know that now I've put that investment in, I'm going to make this work no matter what happens. So again, thank you to all. The community is one of the most impressive things about, you know, the SFM, DEA. It's just incredible. All the guys here, all so supportive, and together, you know, we will help each other achieve our dreams and bring other people up along the way.
Definitely, that's it. And the key thing is as well, and you're like probably the perfect example of this, is that mindset, that space when you can get into that mindset of whatever it takes. And Justin says this quite a lot, wherever he is, and he's here. If you're in that space of whatever it takes and nothing's going to stop you, like, you will become unstoppable. Because a lot of people, I think, and myself included actually, you may reach a point where you think, you know what, if I just had the right tactic or just had the right strategy, it would be all right. You know, I'd be able to nail YouTube, I'd get results, I'd get money. I just need the tactic. It's nothing to do with the tactics. I mean, imagine two people. So one person had a gun to their head and said, you've got 6 months to get to 50 grand a month or whatever, or you're dead, right? They might not know the tactics, but they've got a gun to their head and they have the ultimate incentive to just stop at nothing. Like, do you think not having the tactics is going to stop that person? Not at all. Like, they don't need the tactics because they have an ultimate drive that will trump that every time. On the flip side, you could have someone that's got all the tactics, but they don't take any action, or they don't really do what's necessary, because when it gets too hard or too uncomfortable, they don't lean into that fear and push past it. But this guy, like, again, over the next few months, watch his journey. I'm telling you now, like, he's going to get, whether that's financial results or whether it's spiritual results or whatever, like, he's going to get results because he's willing to do what it takes to get there. And that's the main thing, that if you have that and you've got that drive, you've just got to have faith and believe that you will get the result. Because people don't fail, they only quit. So if you decide you're never going to quit, you're going to succeed. It's inevitable. Whether it's 6, 12, 24 months, doesn't matter. If you don't quit, you'll get there. Right? So thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it. Guys, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dan.
It's amazing. Thank you, guys.
Do you wonder why this guy's gotten results? It starts here. Thanks for being an example. Thanks for the challenge. We got one more to go.
Oh,
Let's
yes.
do this, okay?
Thanks, man.